Hello, everyone. My name is Andy Liu. I'm with OCV Partners. Pleasure to have you all here. I see a lot of familiar faces in the crowd. For those of you that I've not met yet, welcome. Welcome to our event. I want to say thank you for everyone being here. You all made the conscious decision to be here. It's super busy with LA Tech Week, LA traffic, and you're here. We really appreciate that. I also want to give a shout out to my fellow co-hosts. So Mucker, Hyperlink, couldn't have picked more thoughtful, robust LA fellow VCs to have done this event with. And I want to thank our sponsors, HSBC Innovation Banking, Deloitte. Thank you for everything you're doing for the LA VC community and what you're going to continue to do. So in terms of setting up our event tonight, we have three exceptional founders joining us. There are three individuals that are building category-leading AI companies. Yeah, I'm here on the projector. What's really unique about them is they're all pursuing three distinct end markets. So we have maritime technology with Orca AI. We have computational drug discovery, applied materials with QSimulate, and we also have radiology with RAD AI. And again, I mean, they're all taking different core AI technologies in their approaches. So whether it's machine vision, whether it's computational drug discovery, whether it's LLMs, they all have a pretty unique approach. What I will say about our three founders, having spent time with all of them, is a unique common thread. There's three things really. So I will say one, they're all exceptional world-class founders, truly. I mean, super high integrity, great founder market fit. It's really no surprise why we're invested in Yarden, in Jeff. And Toru, I know, spending time with him, he's cut from the same cloth. We're really excited to spend more time with Toru as well. The second thing I'll say is they've all skated to where the puck is going and not where it's been. And what I mean by that is all three of these founders started their companies before ChatGPT, and they were in their markets far before, you know, the sea change of OpenAI, of ChatGPT. That's really exceptional to me. Lastly, I'll say that all of them flew, so they had a big commute, and I really want to acknowledge and say thank you for all of them to be here in person with us. It's really meaningful, and we're really excited to have this talk. Last but not least, I want to introduce the fellow co-host, moderator, Eli Cole of Hyperlink. He's someone I've known for many years now, who I consider a really good friend, and I really value his perspective and trust him very dearly as well. So I couldn't think of a better moderator for this event, but I'd like to welcome all four of these gentlemen on stage. Let's please give them a big round of applause. Please, please.
All right. Thanks, Andy, for the great introduction, and likewise, we feel the same. So I guess to start, you know, I'm super excited about this panel. We have three truly exceptional founders that I think are going to be billion-dollar businesses, and you know, we're recording this, so we can check back in a few years and see if I was right. But maybe to start, we can just introduce yourself, tell us what your company does, you know, why you have founder market fit.
I'm first?
Please.
Okay. Hi, everyone. First of all, I would say, Eli, Andy, amazing event, amazing venue. Thank you for inviting me. I flew quite a long flight, 15 hours from Israel last week, so I'm still here, like like the jet lag is already over, so everything is okay. So pleasure to be here. My name is Yarden Gross. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Orca AI. We basically building an operations platform for the maritime domain. We saw quite a big opportunity to create impact in shipping. We understood that you know, shipping eventually is the backbone of global supply chain. It's moving 90% of the good today in the world. It's impacting each and every one of you in every aspect in your life. When you're buying something online, when you're driving your car, you know, hitting your place, it came on ships. Everything came on ships. So what we understood that, you know, this industry is yet operating in a very conservative way today, or in the last couple of decades. The main reason for that is that ships usually operate in remote locations, isolated locations, And what we understood is that this is going to change. Ships will become more connected to the cloud. We see that today with Starlink, for example. And this creates an opportunity to collect a lot of data, collect data in scale, start deploying advanced technology, advanced model on board ships, and solving a lot of the operational problems they had for many years. So this is what we're building. I have a background from the Navy, building technology over a decade, and like super excited of what we do. And I think like we're creating a lot of impact. So great to be here, and take it away.
Thanks again for having me here, Eli and other co-organizers. So I'm Toru. I'm CEO of QSimulate, a quantum simulation company, and the aspiration that we have as a company is to push forward the digital transformation of drug discovery as a whole. And when you think about drug discovery or anything that is more related to that, you have to connect the molecular scale, like atomistic scale phenomena to human scale outcomes. And that means that you're bridging the, say, 10 order magnitude different scales. And it's a really difficult challenge because you have to absorb all the different kind of scales, the complexity in that, to create a computational model to to give a reliable prediction as to what happens if you take this medicine and so on. So this sort of difficult challenge requires not only the AI-based approaches, but also the kind of approaches to reduce the complexity of problem by utilizing all the things that we know about the universe, so kind of the phenomena. And we are approaching this challenge by advancing the physics-based simulation, and in some sense, from the AI perspective, we are producing the most relevant features that can make the AI problem as easy as possible. So that's what we are doing, my background is in academic research, and that's a kind of we were founded on the technology that was created in the academic research, and that's in some sense the answer to why we have a found a market fit, Anyway, so pleasure to be here.
I'm Jeff from RAD AI. RAD AI background, so my background is as a radiologist. I started really young, went to college at 13, med school at 16. The RAD AI, we were lucky when we founded the company in 2018. It was right when transformer models had just come out. So we've always been transformer model based, which eventually became large language models. So we actually released the first generative AI product in healthcare back in 2019. And then at this point is, I guess, the most widely adopted or in use by almost half of all US health systems, 9 of the 10 largest radiology groups. We've always focused on the workflow of radiology. So instead of the images, we actually focus on the reports, because we as radiologists spend 75–80% of our time dictating reports, right? Not actually looking at the images. And so we can automatically generate part of the report for the radiologists. We save them time, reduce fatigue and burnout, and improve the overall quality of the report, which improves patient care. So our first product automatically generates that last third of the report, customized to each individual radiologist's language, because we pre-train on all their historical reports. And then over time, we've started doing follow-up for patients, making sure they come back for their exams, so making sure we diagnose cancer sooner by making sure those new potential cancers, aneurysms that are getting larger, and so on. And then finally, we now have a reporting platform to replace the existing reporting solutions in radiology.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for the background. Yarden, maybe we can start. You mentioned shipping is such a conservative, antiquated industry. A typical Silicon Valley approach is you have an outsider come in, they know nothing about the industry, and they disrupt it, and it becomes wildly successful. Why didn't that work in shipping? And what are some of the idiosyncrasies of your industry? And why did it take an insider like you to win in your category? And I guess talk more about what gave you the confidence to start Orca when you did.
I think it's a mix, right? So my background and my co-founder's background, both of us, we met 16 years ago in the Israeli Navy, and we know the marine environment pretty well. We know how to utilize it. We know how to operate in that. And then after that, we've been also working in the tech industry over a decade. So I think we bring in a unique combination, and we see a lot of our team members in Israel, because you need to go through the Navy and then, or through the Army, and then like tech in Tel Aviv is like, a big thing. So they have like, this, combination of, from one side, a lot of passion, understanding, but from the other side also they know, how to build technology and how to work in a tech company, in different ways. And I think for sometimes in vertical industries, especially conservative vertical industries, you need to get into the mindset, right? You need to understand how they are thinking. It's not going to work with, I build this, very flashy technology, which is cool, come buy it now. Just I'm going to sit there and, everyone will come and buy. No, you need to actually get into the head. We need to understand that they're very conservative. For example, captains used to, they're doing their operation, they're navigating on ships for so many years, and they know how to do that. In most cases, they will get from point A to point B. They might not going to do it in the most efficient way. They might going to have setbacks. But once you deploy a new type of technology, you need to understand the nuances, how to go to how to work with them, how to talk with them, how to do the onboarding, how to do the training, so they will know how to utilize the technology and get a value out of it instead of rejecting it. So I think this is a lot of the understanding of us in how to operate in this type of domain helped us a lot in the beginning, also helping us a lot today. And just like a quick story, when we started the company, there was an YC company doing a very similar thing to what we do. And they were like, the beautiful kid in the block, right? So, they raised a lot of money and all the press release was on them. And we were like looking like, and they started like 6 months before us, and we were looking at them all the time, envying, like, they're getting all the attention and everything. And then one day we went to this conference and we had a booth and they had a booth, and I came to the booth to see like, what they're actually building. And I looked at the product and I was like, oh my God, like either I'm complete idiot or they have no idea what they're doing. Eventually they closed the company after 1 year. They weren't able to, sell to any customer. We are now expanding. We have more than 1,000 ships already deployed with Orca. So yeah, I think a unique combination of technology plus understanding of the industry, the mindset, can be crucial when you're trying to tackle conservative type of vertical markets.
That's a great segue into Jeff's industry, which is radiology. Jeff, we hear every day AI is coming for our jobs. That's something that's on the top of mind for every radiologist. How have you built your company and the way that you've messaged your product to customers, keeping that thought in mind?
So radiology actually has moved away from that mindset recently, just because the shortage of radiologists is getting worse and worse every year. The volumes of studies are going up 5 to 8% every year in the US, and the number of radiologists can't really go up. And so the burnout is just getting worse, right? So anything that can help save them time, reduce fatigue and burnout is really, really key in terms of technology adoption. And so we've always really been focused on how do we save radiologists time, how do we reduce fatigue and burnout. And we come at it from the radiologist perspective. We have 8 radiologists on the team now, 6 in our executive management. So everything we build is structured for the radiologist. How do we use AI to augment their workflow, to save them time, reduce the manual steps of what they do. And so that's really what's driven our adoption over time. But yeah, there isn't that much concern about replacement at the moment in radiology, just because there's such a shortage, and there's no kind of visible path towards how that would actually happen.
Great. And Toru, you, unlike Jeff and Yarden, you're sort of building more of a horizontal platform with quantum simulation, but at the same time, you're attacking the big pharma vertical as your initial wedge. Can you talk about some of the trade-offs between going horizontal as a platform approach versus going deep into a vertical?
Yeah, sure. There are 2 aspects to having the potential to do horizontal thing, and as Eli mentioned, our technology based upon universal physics, which is quantum mechanics. In other words, if you zoom into small things like atomistic scale phenomena, either that is drugs or semiconductor materials or whatever that is, the quantum mechanics is the ground truth of a microscopic world. We have a special secret sauce in simulating quantum mechanics efficiently and much better than what what that can be done before. We had the opportunity to address different segments or different markets using our technologies. At the early stage of a company, because of that, we could try many different kind of product ideas. I mean, at some level, from our perspective, technologically, the product for semiconductor space is about the same, not really the same, but about the same as the product for, say, drug discovery space, like pharmaceutical space. But the reality is that some of the, products stick better to the market than others, and we identify that, we want to focus on the pharmaceutical verticals just purely because of the business reasons. So, that kind of, the fact that we can do many things allows us to focus on things that are, more scalable for the startup like us. But that said, longer run, once we become, what was that, $1 billion company in 3 years? Anyway, if that happens, we have enough resources to address other markets. So, we have some optionality to grow into gigantic company after becoming a $1 billion company. But, there's at the same time, doing many things is a distraction, and we recognize that. So, that's a kind of a trade-off. But, I would say that it is a good thing to be able to address multiple verticals in principle.
Fair. And, the nice thing about vertical AI is you have proprietary data, which improves your product experience, which helps you onboard new customers, which gives you more proprietary data, and the flywheel churns, right? And it sounds really simple and nice when I describe it like that, but in practice, it's a lot harder. This is open to anybody, but maybe if you want to talk about some of the pain points of being, a vertical AI business.
I mean, the flywheel effect is definitely true in terms of, so we have, I believe by far the largest radiology report data set of any startup. And that's definitely helped in terms of ensuring clinical accuracy and also reducing or making sure that we get exact language for each individual radiologist user, because we need to make sure that we match their language. At the same time, you're always competing against not just startups, but more importantly, the incumbents. You're trying to take over market share, and they're always pushing against you, right? So you have to keep innovating faster. You have to keep deploying faster. There's never like a downtime to be able to relax, right? So you have to be able to execute better. It's not just about the flywheel effect.
So yeah, definitely. Like I would say that even all our business model is based on that. Like even from the beginning, like Orca is like in the first use case provides perception capabilities to the crew in real time, so they can navigate safer, more efficient. So just like that, we need to collect data. And as much more data that we're collecting, we're getting better performance. So better performance meaning better capabilities, then more ships wants to install it. But then there is a certain point, like a tipping point, where you get to so much data, and we are measuring it by nautical miles. So we have about 55 million nautical miles of data that just like compounding, and we're getting more and more because we're installing more ships. And all of a sudden, we started to see that we can actually unlock different type of use cases, different type of capabilities, because we are connected and we are collecting proprietary data that actually no one in the world has access to. So, for example, what we see is that actually every ship in the world, right, becomes a weather station. You can collect data about weather, about height of the waves, about the currents, about the visibility. You can collect data about port congestion, idling time, fishing area, and all of a sudden you can start sharing this information between ships. And this will impact the performance on how ships start taking actions and are taking decisions in terms of the route planning, for example. So if, let's say, there is a ship that is getting to a certain port, you can share the information with another ship that actually there is a lot of idling time outside of the port. So if the other ship will reduce the speed, it will save a lot of money. It will get exactly where it needs to get to the port. So it's basically taking this part of the supply chain, which is the most important part. And based on data that we're constantly collecting, we are solving issues related to safety, to fuel efficiency, automation, and basically changing how the industry is starting to operate. So I think this is like embedded in our model, in the business model, and how we actually see things.
In our case, it's slightly different because data in the pharmaceutical space and also materials, but pharmaceutical space is extremely expensive compared to other type of data, and generally, if you want to, acquire data through engagement with the customer, we have to pay, well, basically there's a consequence in terms of what kind of engagement or what kind of fees we are charging. So our strategy has been to, create a competitive edge that doesn't depend on the, the actual data data to be trained on the AI models. So, again, we are our unique technology is based upon the kind of a ground truth, which is quantum mechanics, and by pushing forward the technology from the bottom up, our offering doesn't depend actually on the the data, and obviously we are talking with some of the health system and other big larger pharma companies to think about the strategic partnership to further advance the technology, but I think it's in our space it's sensible to start from somewhere tangential to acquiring a lot of data as in the earlier stages in the startup life cycle.
I would mention one other thing is really important is to decide what not to do, right? So we have also one of the largest radiology image data sets, but we've decided not to do anything on the imaging side for now. We instead partner with imaging AI companies so that we can incorporate the results directly in. That allows us to work with many more different companies, partner with them in this space instead of trying to build everything, right? Because no one company can build everything. If you split your attention in too many different ways, you're going to get distracted. So really kind of deciding what is important to build.
A good segue into my next question. So I was one time, when I first started in venture, I was speaking with a Samsung executive who told me that he liked to put apples and bowls in every conference room in his office because he wanted his employees to constantly eat Apple's market share. You all have legacy incumbents in your industries, Toru, Schrodinger, Yarden, Hyundai, Jeff, you have Nuance. How have you approached your relationship with those legacy incumbents, either as a friendly or a foe?
So if I were to start, I mean, it's kind of difficult to create an object that represents Schrödinger. So we don't have that in our office. But fundamentally, my view is that we are tackling a really difficult challenge, meaning that like digital version of drug discovery. Like imagine doing the clinical trials on computer. It would be nice. And so it's a big stuff, and therefore in my opinion, competition is a good healthy thing to have. It's more like the market itself has to grow as opposed to eating a fixed amount of pie. But that said, obviously we are competing head to head with the incumbent, and that's kind of a initially we started as a complementary components as an offering, but as we grow as a company, and also the product grows, product matures, inevitably we have come to the point where we are competing head to head, and they are aware, incumbent is aware of what we are doing. They're sniffing around a customer, and the customer reports to us they are asking about this and that, but. I mean, I think it's not for, but it's a healthy competition, and better technology has to prevail. And if they want to develop new things, they're welcome to do. And so, I don't consider to be a negative thing. It's good. It's great if multiple parties develop competing products to push forward the entire market or entire space. That's the view of things.
So a few points about that, about competition in traditional companies, in traditional industries, of traditional companies. First, I think it should have that. It's good. It's doing good for the business, especially if you're building an innovative product, because it helps you to educate the market. And market education is very important in the early stages, and to do it by yourself, it can be sometimes hard. So putting this point in the side, I think that the risk, from the risk perspective of, they're going to take market share versus, or they're going to, take the market from us, I think it's almost impossible for a traditional company in a traditional industry to beat a startup. And when I'm looking at, the industries, usually I would look at if there is another startup who is competing with us, and I will try to focus my efforts there and see how we're beating them, another traditional company. So we have Hyundai, for example, as basically a competitor, helps us to educate the market because it shows that, the industry is going towards this direction. But Hyundai have industries, they know how to build chips, and they do it amazingly for many years. But when it comes to build software, and when it comes to build a startup with a founder mindset, it's almost impossible to actually build a startup. So, and you see it in every aspect, how they're looking at data, how they're treating data, how even they're building the vision, and they don't have a founder mindset vision. So I think it's a good thing, especially for us. It's doing many good. Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, so when we first started, our first product integrated seamlessly into Nuance's product. We've been working alongside them for a long time. There's been, of course, lots of ups and downs over the years. Times when we tried to work together, times when they started announcing products that are a competitive product, and then eventually we announced a competitive product, and so on and so forth. I think our main advantage tends to be the ability to move faster, right? The ability to provide better customer service for our customer base, to be able to respond faster, to build out new features that people have been requesting for a decade that they've never built, to just kind of push them faster and more aggressively, and just get customers who really love our brand. They've suffered a lot. We've been lucky because they've also suffered a lot on the branding side, in terms of they've had a really bad customer experience for the last number of years.
I want to echo on what Jeff said. I completely agree with you. This is the feedbacks we're getting. Like I said, with one of our customers, CEO of like a major shipping company, and basically he told me Hyundai, they're like putting a black box, and that's it. They expect you to do everything and to know how to use it, and you're calling them or there is a problem, no one answers. And with you guys, feel like you're a partner, right? We're giving you feedback, you're going back, and you actually deal with the feedback, and you're delivering new products for us based on our challenges and operational challenges. And this is like, really building together, a relationship between you and a customer, which is in a different level from a lot of traditional companies.
And the other thing I will add is that, as a startup, it's very important to, have a edge in something that cannot be done by sheer resources or manpower or something like that. And that's a kind of a whole point of vertical AI companies, isn't it? In other words, we have certain domain knowledge or domain, unique stuff in the domain. And
you can say expertise. It's
expertise,
fine.
yeah. Anyway, so sometimes people ask questions like, imagine shooting put 100 people and work on the same thing for 2 years. What do you do? The reality is that we are much better. It's just not like the resources are going to replace us, and it's kind of important to keep reminding ourselves that that kind of unique expertise is something that matters, and so just wanted to add.
Awesome. Well, VCs get a lot of hate online for adding zero to negative value to their startups. Maybe to end on a positive note, we can say, what's the nicest thing that a VC not named Hyperlink has ever done for you?
You invited us here.
Hopefully they've done more than that.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm still thinking. Put me on a corner here.
I don't know. I haven't got the investment from Hyperlink yet.
Not named Hyperlink.
Yeah, but I think My perspective is that what I appreciate the most is a kind of a diverse view of things, you know. In other words, and at the same time, not being fixated on particular ideas. In other words, you know, I mean, I appreciate it when somebody comes to the board meeting and well, like, you know, to me in the office and telling me, like, you know, what you guys think is right. And, you know, sometimes I don't agree with it, but that's okay, you know, like, you know, it's useful to have that kind of feedback. And so that's what I like about, you know, healthy relationship between the founders and the investor. That's the best I can think of.
I would say what we've appreciated most is when investors who aren't even invested in RAD AI yet have done intros for health systems. Some have recently introed us to an organization that has all the executive management over 20 health organizations, and so that leads to a lot of new customers. And so that's really helped a lot. Both existing investors and also potential investors have helped a lot in intros.
So I'm fortunate to have great investors, Eli. And Andy. No, but putting joke aside, I can give tons of examples where, you know, I got the right intro to the right person that helped us close the deal, that I got the right advice. What I learned is just to work with my board in a way that I'm working with them constantly and then continuously. And then when we get into the board meeting, it's basically just, you know, to give an update, talk a little bit about the strategy, high level, but not on the tactical stuff. And this is happening all the time, constantly. And what I see is that, you know, because of the experience of the people, because of their network, because of, you know, the relationship they have, it's really creating tremendous amount of value. So I think it's a lot about the founder on how he knows how to utilize his investors in order to extract the most value of it. And then also it creates a situation of relationship. They're not surprised if something bad is happening. So I think that this is what I was able to build in the company, to have a very strong relationship. Like, I got married last year. Everyone came all the way to Israel, you know, from Hong Kong, from LA. So it really shows that there is a relationship. And I think this is very important because eventually when you're building a company, right, most of the times it's going to be for years. So they're actually your partners. And I think it's a continuous and ongoing process of providing value and working together in order to achieve the goal.
And also, you know, another thing I appreciate is that, you know, my investor who is in the audience introduced me to Eli and, you know, and you guys, and then, you know, now I'm introduced to the ecosystem in the LA. So, like, you know, not only that, you know, we get the introduction for, like, say, fundraise or the customer introduction, but also, like, you know, we get to connect with other people through investors and investors' friends and friends of friends and so on. And you know, I talk to people and I listen to, you know, what you guys are saying. And, you know, I kind of learn, like, from between lines, like, you know, like what's useful for my future decisions. So, you know, it's great to be part of, you know, this sort of an ecosystem or kind of a group of people. And I really appreciate, again, you know, for inviting me here to be part of the panel.
Well, thank you all so much for coming. It's such an honor for us. Honestly, it's not often that the more time you spend with the company, the more you learn about it, the more you fall in love. And, you know, the way that you guys go about your business, it's truly remarkable. So it means a lot that you came, and we really appreciate you coming over.